Hello, everyone. We are back for another interview. I am Leon Barillaro, your host, joined by Rhodrick Magsino. Rhodrick, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. I want to remind everybody in chat that we are giving away a copy of Cassie Mothwin's Clean Spirit, and you can enter to win by typing in exclamation mark giveaway in the chat. So definitely do that. The game is really cool and you're going to want it. Um, yeah, and I think that's it. We can get going, Roderick. So, Roderick, why don't we start with an introduction to you and, then we'll talk about your project. And then I want a full tour of all of the stuff that is behind you because I'm
Oh,
so
yeah.
fascinated. I'm joking. Roderick, who are you?
Well, I'm Rhodrick Magsino. I work in the daytime as an editor, sound designer, and composer for TV and film. But on the side, I'm also the owner of Alewood Games, where I design and publish tabletop games. At first, it was board games, but now I'm sort of shifting more entirely towards tabletop RPGs. Um, and yeah, as a collector and artist, that's why we have all this crazy stuff behind me. It's
Oh, it's
just a
excellent.
mess.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for indulging me. I love your setup. Excellent. So, Roderick, tell me more about your crowdfunder project.
So I'm trying to crowdfund a very tiny adventure module. Traysikel, or phonetically as it's pronounced, Traysikel, is a system-agnostic, high-speed fantasy motorcycle adventure printed on a dual pamphlet format. It's for 1 GM and 1 to 4 players who will ferry a Babylon fugitive on their tricycle taxi across a jungle mountain in a single evening. They'll be battling nightmarish monsters while navigating the island's colonial occupation and its brewing revolution. So,
That is delightful. That is fantastic. Um, I have to ask, what was the sort of impetus for writing this adventure? Did you write it for a home game, or is it just a topic that you enjoy?
well, there's a couple things. I'm kind of a maximalist when it comes to writing things out and giving out information. So this was a kind of a challenge for myself to create a more minimalist game. And so by reducing the real estate to just a couple of pamphlets, I'm forcing myself to really focus on my wording and what I choose to put in the adventure. But on top of that, I had two real goals with this game. One, I wanted to create an adventure that was very action-packed and high-speed and aggressive, but at the same time, I wanted to theme the entire adventure around something that was very personal to me. And so, while on the surface, it kind of seems as this bloody action horror survival game with magic and motorcycles and swords, underneath it all, every aspect in the adventure is themed around identity. And the whole theme of the adventure is that identity is a spectrum, and as you play, where do you lie as a character within the spectrum in a world that's extremely polarized? And so that's why I made the setting in a colonized island at the forefront of a brewing revolution, because you'll get all the NPCs, everything around you is going to have a very strong mixed opinions. And this adventure, it's a lot of dealing with how you look and how you are perceived is not always how you identify or feel. And so Tricycle was a really fun way for me to merge those two ideas together, where it's an action movie with a lot of emotion behind it.
I love that. Let's go ahead and take a look at your campaign here because I wanna study first of all the excellent art. I love the way that the red and the yellow and the black just pop on the cover here. I think it's really really excellent. It looks
Yeah.
amazing.
try to theme a lot of the style, because while the idea was inspired by Revolution, a lot of the work was driven through the music I was listening to while I was making it. So it's all very inspired by punk and hip hop music, and
Good.
so the color schemes and how everything's just sort of plastered on, sort of like haphazardly, was the style that we were kind of going for. And I even made
Excellent.
a playlist for the game, which I had been building. I think there's a link to it at the bottom, but I've been building it as I was been designing the game. So it kind of, the hours kind of racked up, and now I think it's like 5+ hours of music specifically themed
Excellent.
for revolution and activism, and like something to like light a fire in your belly kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, even just from the preview here, these artists are great. So I can't wait to dive into that playlist. That's so cool. Yeah, I do absolutely want to, you know, talk a little bit about your rewards, because I noticed that you have other Z and add-ons here, and I want to hear more about those as well.
Yeah, so the different rewards that we have, you can buy the dual pamphlet, which will be it'll be printed on 8.5 by 11 full bleed tech stock 100-pound matte paper. But if you want to get the digital version, you can get the PDF, which is only $2. I have a tier that someone already got, which is you can game with me, and I can run the adventure for you. Because I know a lot of people have expressed specifically to me that, like, hey, it's a really cool idea, but nobody likes to GM. So I'm like, okay, well, I can do it for you. Of course, I have community copies that are available. And further down, remember, Frankie is actually it's a game that I made last year, which is sort of the polar opposite of what I'm doing for Traysikel, where it's a game about, again, it's about identity and vulnerability, where like the interview you had earlier, it's a lyric writing game where you put yourself into this position, and you write a poem together about a person that doesn't exist. But because I spent a year developing that kind of game, where it's all about approaching yourself and your history with a kind of poetic tenderness, when I was coming up with the idea for a new game, I just wanted something polar opposite. And we're like, I want something really fast and heavy and unapologetic. So
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So you have crowdfunded before, correct?
I have, yeah, a couple times.
Wow. Thank you for making Crowdfundr your home for Traysikel.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you have learned from this this outing, and outing is not the right word, this endeavor in particular, or any kind of wisdom for folks out there who might be looking to crowdfund?
Yeah, actually, this is the first time so doing this event with Crowdfundr Tabletop Nonstop, but also with affiliation with Zine Month, has been really cool, because this is the first time I did a crowdfunding event that with collaboration with so many people, and the Zine Month community has been really great in terms of like sharing so much information, and it's been really uplifting to see everyone just help each other, which is really nice, especially working with Crowdfundr. I love that you guys were even on the Discord yourselves. I think like David was on the chat a bunch of times, like answering questions directly. Like we'll come up with like, hey, how do I create this? And it's like, oh yeah, hold on a second. And then like a couple minutes later, we get the answer. But yeah, crowdfunding is always pretty tough. But I think in this particular moment, doing a crowdfunding with a community is just so much more uplifting and more, you just have so many more resources, where sometimes when you do crowdfunding in the past, you're kind of like lone soldier. You're kind of like doing it on your own, and it's nice to have that community behind you. You know.
Agreed. Yeah. Um, yeah, for that, I guess my question then would be for folks who were maybe looking for this community, where would you suggest that they go?
Well, first, I highly recommend joining the Zine Month Discord, whether or not you're being a part of it, because I feel that a lot of people uh, still post and contribute even after Zine Month, just all year round. They're posting things and ideas and ways to help each other. And if you're crowdfunding around February, I recommend going through Crowdfundr, because all the things that you guys did for Tabletop Nonstop was great, with all the social media pushes and the interviews like right here. And, it's really nice, especially
Yay.
after
Oh,
being
I'm so happy.
with going with like other funders like Kickstarter, which is also great, but very different. And a lot of the higher tiered projects get a lot of the spotlight. Uh,
Hmm.
but I really like that you guys were looking out for the little people. Just
Yeah, I definitely think that there were a lot of amazing projects in Tabletop Nonstop that were from indie creators that I like. I've met so many amazing designers, yourself included, from this project, and it has been really, really awesome to see what people
yeah,
make.
it was exciting, especially like when February 1st kicked off. So many projects went live that were just amazing, and then my Twitter feed was just blowing up, and I
Yep.
kept clicking on project after project, and it's like my wallet was gasping for air. Just like, I can't stop. I can't fund everybody. So
Hmm.
no, it's great.
It's yeah. I want to swing back to Tricycle a little bit because it is an adventure, and it you say in the campaign that it is system agnostic, and so I do want to ask if it is if you've optimized it for specific systems or if you have recommendations for systems that it works best in.
So a lot of the adventure is flavor, and so the only mechanics that I actually put in there are specific to the tricycle cab itself, which are
Hmm.
standalone. And so, whatever system you end up using, it should be able to function just fine, and all of the NPCs and the monsters and the description should be able to slide in seamlessly with whatever you're using. And so I tried it with a couple different systems. Uh, like the Black Hack. I've tried it with D&D. I even tried it with Dread, and that was kind of crazy. With,
Oh.
but yeah, I mean, a lot of the fun specific mechanics I designed for Tricycle. One is the style mechanic, in which you can customize your tricycle to either look more like an affiliation with the Revolution or more affiliation with the colonizers. And depending how you dress your ride, the GM is constantly going to be doing checks to see which side of the perception you're going to lie on when you enter a village. So, and the idea is that what the idea of you are this walking contradiction, where you may believe in the revolution, but because you're driving this tricycle, this machine that was created and developed by the colonizers, no matter what your intentions are, you can be seen either way, and you have to navigate socially through that environment. And so, I think that can fit with any kind of system that you play with, because it's more about the social
Absolutely.
dynamic.
Wow. I love social play and TTRPGs, and that mechanic is really, really cool. Uh yeah, so I think we're coming up close to time here. So I do want to ask if there is anything you'd like to say to our wonderful friends in chat before we head out.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on. And if you want to check out more games that I've created, you can just go to my website, ailwoodgames.com. That's got all the information about Tricycle and Remember Frankie and all my future projects that are all going to be focused on identity and activism and and mental health. So
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Roderick. It was awesome getting to talk to you on stream today. Chat, stick around. We've got one more interview, and then we will be giving our game away. So See you in a little bit, chat.
All right. Thank you.